father blackmailing me into doing Halloween. I'm really not a fan of Napoleon Dynamite. There are a few reasons for this, but I apparently kind of look like him according to my parents. So they think it would be cute if I dressed as the character for Halloween while one of my brothers dresses as Pedro. I have no desire to do this at all. The problem is that if I don't, my dad's decided that my brothers will be punished for it. Now I don't know what to do and would like to hear other opinions. I'll keep it as short as I can. I'm 17 years old and non-binary, but assigned male at birth. I've been asked by my parents, specifically my mother, to dress up as Napoleon Dynamite for Halloween. She's been asking for a few months now. Before now, I've typically rejected this idea for a few reasons. First, I'm not a fan of Halloween. I'm an extremely introverted person, and the whole concept of going up to people's houses dressed in something stupid-looking is fairly anxiety-inducing to me. Second, I already have a bad association with the character. I'm pretty self-conscious about my appearance, and a while ago, my parents made the realization that I look similar to Napoleon. I initially passed it off as a funny observation, but since then, both my parents and siblings have used that to tease me and sometimes outright insult me. I've asked them to stop several times, citing that it makes me uncomfortable, but it's usually passed off with the excuse that they're just joking and not to take it seriously. So, despite my protests, my parents have still been adamant that I go through with their idea. The plan is for me and my 12-year-old younger brother to go around the neighborhood dressed respectively as Napoleon and Pedro. I have another young brother, also 12, who's also involved in this story, but as far as I know, he's not dressing up as a Napoleon Dynamite character. As of a couple of days ago, though, a new problem comes in. My stepdad decided to promise my two brothers that if we went along with their plan, he would buy us all brand new gaming laptops. Not cheap ones either, really powerful ones. My brothers, being the typical video game obsessed 12-year-olds that they are, jumped all over this. But here's the catch. He's already bought them, and they're in fact coming in today, and my brothers only get to have them if I agree to dress up as Napoleon. Otherwise, my stepdad says that he's going to send them back. As you can imagine, I'm pretty torn about what to do. On one hand, I've already expressed that I'm really uncomfortable with the whole idea, and I now feel like I'm being blackmailed into doing it. On the other hand, I feel extremely guilty about turning down the offer, since my brothers are now extremely excited about the laptops, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to hold me at fault if they don't get them. I'm not too concerned about getting a laptop myself. I'd love one for sure, but it's not too high on my list of priorities. So what should I do? Would I be the jerk if I didn't dress up and lost everyone's chance to get a new laptop? This original poster is in a pretty tough position. Nearly all commenters agree that they wouldn't be the jerk for refusing to dress up in a costume that makes them uncomfortable. It's also generally agreed that their stepdad is a jerk for even putting this bribe in place. At the time of writing, only one person has said they should go ahead and do it. The reasoning is that it's only one night and everyone gets a reward at the end of it. They could always try to call the stepdad's bluff and hope everyone gets the laptops anyway, but it's impossible to tell whether that ruse would actually work or not. The person making this suggestion also identifies as non-binary and doesn't consider it a relevant factor, since they'd merely be dressing up in costume. Ultimately, while I would also probably just go ahead and wear the costume, only OP can decide for themselves. If they choose not to, hopefully their brothers will be more understanding than they seem to think. After all, the only punishment is continuing not to have laptops they didn't have in the first place. But what would you do in this situation? Would you wear the costume and get the laptops? Or should OP put their foot down on this issue? Leave a comment down below about how you'd handle this in OP's shoes. My creepy coworker is spying on her husband. My coworker has been going through some rough times lately. Her husband is sick with respiratory issues and was admitted to the hospital for 2 weeks. He's at home now and is bedridden. The other day we were sitting together chattering. By we, I mean me, her, and other coworkers. Then I noticed my coworker looking at a live video of her husband sleeping in their bedroom. Out of curiosity, I asked her about it, and she said that she installed a nanny cam to be able to watch her husband while she's away from home. I won't lie, this felt kind of violating to me, especially when she said he didn't know she put the cam in there. I pointed at her phone and said that it was creepy of her to do that, and without him knowing about it. The other coworker stared at us, and she lashed out, saying that she was doing this out of concern for him, because although his sister comes over to take care of him, my coworker says she still needs to keep an eye on him. I said that this was my opinion, and that situations like this do not exactly excuse violating someone's privacy. She got mad and said that I must be projecting, which might be true, but still. It was about the concept of privacy. We had an argument and got a bit loud, and she walked away upon saying that I was judgmental and that it was none of my business anyway. The other coworkers were split on this. Some chose to stay out of it, and some agreed with me that my coworker has no respect for her husband's privacy. Given the current atmosphere at the office, I'm beginning to think that I shouldn't have talked to her about it. She keeps avoiding me now. While the coworker is technically right that it's none of OP's business, that just makes it a weird move to check the cam in front of other people. It's also weird that the coworker was so quick to tell OP that her husband didn't know about the camera. It doesn't even sound like OP asked for that detail. Why would a person just freely volunteer that if they didn't have to? Even if she doesn't think there's anything wrong with what she's doing, surely she'd know that others might have feelings about it. The only reason I can think of for installing that camera without the husband's knowledge is if he was against it, yet she was still worried and wanted to know if he'd be okay. If that's the case, then it would still be a violation of privacy, but it would at least be an understandable one. It all comes down to what she plans on doing when the husband gets better. If he recovers but the cam stays up, then it's likely she had other reasons for keeping an eye on him. But if she's really only concerned for his safety, it's not the greatest crime ever committed. The optics are still pretty bad, but certainly not worth creating an uncomfortable work environment over it. If you made it this far in the video, consider liking and subscribing for more videos coming. Girlfriend won't get rid of creepy Goosebumps dummy. My girlfriend loves horror. She told me about 3 months ago that she read Goosebumps in elementary school, and it sparked a lifelong interest in horror. She also said that when she was a kid, all she ever wanted for birthdays or Christmas was a replica of Slappy, a creepy ventriloquist dummy from the show and books. I'm kind of a wimp about that stuff, and I think the dummy thing is frankly insane. But I like her enough to ignore it. At least, I did, until last week, her birthday, when her mother bought her a Slappy replica. Her mother's afraid of dummies, hence why she never got it for her as a kid. My girlfriend was thrilled. You would have thought her mom had handed her the keys to a Tesla with the way she was acting. She was literally crying with happiness. When she saw the expensive necklace I got her, she just said thank you. She's totally obsessed with the dummy. Her roommate thinks it's hilarious, and my girlfriend carries Slappy around her apartment like a teddy bear. She even sleeps with it in her bed. I kind of snapped last night when I went over and she was holding the dummy when I answered the door. I told her it was creepy and she was being weird about it and she needed to get rid of it. I'll admit I raised my voice a little bit. My girlfriend started crying and her roommate told me to leave. Her roommate and my friends have been texting me saying I'm not supporting my girlfriend and the dummy is harmless. My girlfriend herself hasn't reached out to me. So am I the jerk? Before we even get into this, the girlfriend's roommate apparently found this post and left a comment. She has some pretty strong words for OP. She says, "Matt, did you seriously not think either of us would see this post? You only learned about this subreddit because she showed you some of the posts here in an attempt to get you to engage in any of her interests. Makes sense that you only care about it when it could benefit you. I don't know whether this is some passive-aggressive power move to get her to text you back, or if you're just that desperate for someone to agree with you. But either way, I don't think it's working out like you hoped. It certainly works well for me, since now I don't have to worry about biting my tongue for her sake. First, you talk about her being excited when she got the dummy as a gift. Of course she was excited. It's something that she had wanted for years. And the fact that it came from her mom also made it special, since her mom hates the thing. And you can act all wounded about her not being as thrilled about the necklace, but we both know that you're intentionally leaving out the fact that she freaking told you previously that she doesn't like wearing jewelry. She doesn't like how a lot of it looks. She has sensory problems with it. And no one asked you to spend $1,000 on a necklace that looks like the Amazon logo for a girl you've been with for barely 7 months, dude. To be honest, it was just kind of weird. Also, you kind of snapped. You raised your voice a little bit. You blew up. The people from across the way came to check in on us after you left because of your yelling. Rather than talking to your girlfriend and expressing your reservations like a normal person, you bottled it up and then let it out on her with no warning. I know for sure that she's done with you, but honestly, for the sake of your future relationships, I hope that you grow the heck up and learn to communicate without alerting everyone in the building of your issues. Also, get better taste. Goosebumps is awesome. You're the jerk. By the way, we're having fun watching Goosebumps with Slappy. After a few questions from other commenters, the roommate clarified that the necklace in question was a Tiffany smile necklace. I get that it's a high-end store, but it's ridiculous that anyone is paying $1,000 for those things. It's literally just a necklace that looks like it's smiling, and it's kind of ugly. It sounds like this OP is the kind of guy who cares more about what he spends on a gift than whether it's a thoughtful gift for the person in question. I won't go too hard on this OP for not liking Goosebumps. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, even when their opinions are wrong. There have been videos where some commenters might have suggested that could easily be my slogan, but the roommate's right. The problem here really isn't the doll. It's not even the fact that he didn't like the doll. It's that he handled it in the worst way possible. Unless he wants to keep losing women over disagreements that should be stupid and petty, he needs to completely overhaul his approach to dealing with people. Until then, his girlfriend was right not to throw the dummy away. She just traded one dummy for a better one. I've been lying to my wife about Halloween for years. I've been married to my wife for about 5 years, after dating for 2, making it a total of 7 years we've been together. My wife loves to decorate for all the seasons. For Halloween, she loves putting out cardboard cutouts of ghosts, bats, masks, or whatever she can find. She puts them out with a sign saying, "Take me, color me," and she leaves them out with coloring supplies. The first year she tried this, maybe 4 or 5 kids actually took one and decorated it. This made my wife really bummed out and sad. So without her knowing, I've been taking some a couple of times a week. I color it like I think a kid would, then put it back. This made my wife excited and happy, so much that she started using the returned ones as decorations on the window. Every year since then, she goes out and either buys them or makes them. I've been taking them and decorating them myself. My wife doesn't seem to suspect anything and thinks kids have been actually decorating them. Last week, I invited a buddy from the office, and he asked about the cutouts. He asked if kids really come by and decorate them, especially in the years since COVID happened. I told him what I've been doing, and he said I'm deceiving my wife, that I'm giving her false hope, and that I would eventually be caught. He said that I'm a jerk for lying and wasting money. I may be lying, but it makes her happy and excited every time one gets taken. Am I being a jerk for making her think the cardboard cutouts are actually being used? Should I just tell her what I've been doing? Not every story has to have a jerk. In this case, OP meant well. He loves his wife and wanted her to be happy. It was a pretty white lie. That said, his friend does have a point. As with any lie that goes on longer than it should, he's backing himself into a corner. Now his only options are to hope she never finds out or to tell her immediately. He's already been sitting on this lie for years. The longer he waits, the more devastated she'll be when she finds out the truth. Not only will it retroactively destroy the happiness she's felt over these decorations, but she'll also be left wondering what else this man might have lied to her about. Then again, it might also depend on their relationship. She might be a little bummed out, but she might also recognize the sweetness behind his gesture and the dedication he's shown by putting so much effort into it. What would you feel if you were his wife? Would you want him to keep it up, or should he rip the bandage off as quickly as possible? Or has the lie gone on too long for there to be a good solution at this point? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Karen doesn't want me picking a costume for our son. My days with my son are Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and half of Wednesday. Since Halloween is on a Monday this year, he will be trick-or-treating with me. So I put together a really cute Halloween costume for the two of us. I got the last piece for his costume yesterday, and I asked him if he wanted to try on his costume. He did, and we took some cute pictures. I sent the pictures to the family group chat. My ex called me and asked me if that was supposed to be my son's Halloween costume. I said that it was, and she asked me what was wrong with me. She said we had to decide together what my son's Halloween costume was. I asked why, since Halloween is on my day. The only holidays with special custodial provisions are Mother's Day, Father's Day, our 3 birthdays, Christmas, and Thanksgiving, not Halloween. So I don't understand how she came to this conclusion. She said we both have the right to have a say in what our son wears because it reflects on both of us as parents. It's a Halloween costume. How does it reflect on us? The argument was getting repetitive and heated, so I exercised my 24-hour card and postponed the conversation. But we have to finish the conversation today. I'm kind of baffled. My plan is to just tell her that Halloween will fall on her days in 2024 and 2025, so she has a lot of time to plan 2 awesome Halloween costumes. But before I do that, I just need a reality check. Is this a bigger deal than I realize? Am I a jerk? It's interesting that OP didn't mention 2023. I looked it up, and Halloween's on one of his days that year, so I can understand why his wife wants to figure this out now. Whatever they decide this year might also affect what they do next year, and by 2024, their son might be old enough to pick a costume for himself. It's worth noting, by the way, that he explained in another comment his son's costume is Speedy, Green Arrow's sidekick. So it's not clear what the mom's issue is, since dressing as a superhero is pretty normal for a little boy. It's likely one of 2 things. 1, she might like Halloween and simply not wish to be left out. If that's the case, they can probably reach a compromise in later years where the parent with custody on Halloween gets to decide with the son, but both parents are involved in talking about it. And since she has him on Saturdays, she can still take him trick-or-treating in another costume if she really wants. The other possibility is that she really is just a Karen, and she's using their son to start drama with OP. If that's the case, OP may as well get used to this, because it'll only get worse as the kid gets older. But the only thing that should matter is that their son has fun trick-or-treating. Hopefully their argument won't get in the way of that. Please leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to make a video of them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.